I want to go to another one of my guests here on London Real named James Clear. He's got a great book called Atomic Habits. Been a very popular show here on London Real. And James has a very simple assessment. He says if you can get 1% better every week, it might not feel like much. I mean, imagine if you could go to the gym and work out 1% harder or eat 1% less sugar. You'd be like, oh, that's not very impressive. Or wake up 1% earlier. You'd be like, that's nothing, Brian. What if you did that 52 weeks in a row and that compounded? Well, pretty soon you've just got a 70% improvement on what you've done in a year. Most people would never ever get that in their entire lives. So small incremental changes can make a big difference. Also, James breaks down the whole way that we form habits. And once you understand that it starts from a cue, which goes to a craving, which goes to a response, which then provides a reward, if you can break this cycle, you can break your own bad habits. And I've been doing this with myself for the past 5 years, and I think it's important for you to do the same. This is James going into detail more about some of this habit forming protocol.
And the idea, and there's 100 years of behavioral psychology research behind this, that if you show someone the right cue and they take an action and then you follow it with a reward, you can train them to do that thing whenever the cue arises again, whenever the stimulus happens. So if whenever the light in the lab turns on, the monkey gets a squirt of juice, then it knows whenever the light is on, I should go over and put my mouth underneath the nozzle to get some juice or whatever.
Interesting you bring that up because there's a book called Alan Carr's Easy Way to Stop Smoking.
Yep.
He's now dead, but I read this 20 years ago or something, and it actually worked. And it was weird how what you're saying now is the pack of cigarettes used to cue, okay, I got to smoke, and then after reading a book like that, it cued, I'm not going to poison myself anymore, and I understand the trick it's playing on me.
So I think this is actually quite hard to do for breaking bad habits, which is rewiring the story in your brain for what a cue means. Yeah. But in the long run, that is actually, I think, a very robust way to break a bad habit, is to learn to teach yourself that cue means something new.
So what is that bad habit that you want to break? That impossible thing where you're like, I can't do it. I remember trying to stop drinking. That was one of the hardest things for me to do. I think I probably spent 20 some years actually trying to stop doing that, to a point where I thought it's just not possible anymore. People go to 12-step programs and do all this stuff their whole life and they barely are able to stay sober. Same with smoking. I smoked Lucky Strike unfiltered cigarettes when I was 17 years old. I thought I was a badass because I smoked unfiltered cigarettes, right? This is what I was working with me back in the day. I thought there's no way I can ever quit, but I could. And actually I read a book and quit cigarettes. It was that simple because I found a way to break that cycle. And all of these things can be changed. Even the worst behavior you think is impossible, that negative mindset, that fear of failure, that fear of success, the way you constantly sabotage yourself, those things that disgust you about yourself when you can't control your eating habits or your drinking habits or your partying habits or your drug habits, all those things that make you small, that show your self-esteem that you are not worthy of being in this world, those can be broken. You just need a plan, you need a mentor, you need a peer group, and you got to take some action and stop playing small. 2020 is the time to do it, so let me know how you're going to do it. Leave me some comments here. Tell me, what are you going to do different in 2020? What's that bad habit you want to break? What's that business you want to start? At London Real, we believe that individual transformation can change the world. Join us and start your journey today.